Coming soon to own on
YouTube and Twitch.
Most embarrassing loyal deaths in history. Let's get straight into it.
Embarrassing royal deaths.
Louis III.
This is Louis III, and this is his dad, Louis II, King of West
Did y'all say Louis or Louis? Louis.
Francia, also known as the Kingdom of the Franks. Hey, Frank.
Kingdom of the Franks? Hey, fucking yo.
Hey, Frank. Louis II here is renowned for being a very peaceful and very loving ruler for his very short 2-year reign between the years of 877 and 879. And now, he's dead, which is even more peaceful. Now, Louis III is the king-to-be at the ripe old age of 16. But since his parents married in secret before he was slopped out, his claim to the throne is being questioned. Now, in order to keep things civil, Louis had struck a deal with his younger brother to rule together. And with that agreement, West Francia was split in two. Okay, this is my half, and there's yours. Fine by me. My side has the Xbox.
Damn. He got lucky.
Louis III got the north, and his brother, Carloman II, got the south.
So the younger brother got 3 countries, well, 3 states. He's got 2 states. I'm not gonna lie, he got fucked over. Cause relatively, he got way more land to control over.
Together, the two brothers fought off any would-be usurpers from East Francia who contested their reign. Battles were fought for over a year with some back and forth, but ultimately ended in a loss, and a portion of their kingdom was ceded to the east. But while East Francia celebrated its victory, a distant threat loomed over the horizon. Those dang Vikings were showing up in 881 and began to pillage the village and plunder asunder. However, East Francia, still riding their high, managed to kick the Vikings shit in. Not wanting to sail their ships home in shame, the Vikings instead tried their luck with West Francia. Bad move. They would soon learn that 2 kings were better than Vikings. Louis and Carloman went on the offensive and took the invaders by surprise. Together, the brother armies slaughtered the Vikings, cutting down around 9,000 men in the clash. This victory was absolutely huge for the 2 young monarchs, who were praised by both Western and Eastern Frankish kingdoms. Now keep in mind that both...
I mean, shit, nigga. If my king done stopped the invasion, and these niggas are like 2 young ass jits, nigga, praise the king, nigga. Praise that king. Nigga just saved us.
Kings were teenagers, so the ego trip was insane.
It's like the ego trip crazy, but can you blame them? They just stopped an invasion from these ruthless dogs.
That being the case, Louis took to finding himself a queen, as to produce an heir and to cement his legacy. Louis decided to pursue love in 882 and ended up quite literally pursuing a potential partner. In a bout of hopefully consensual horseplay, the young maiden fled from the
Oh, this nigga horny and active. You better watch out.
her monarch on horseback to her father's house.
Why are you running?
Louis, very calmly hunting down his love interest, ended up completely conking his dome on the top of a low doorway.
I'm sorry, it's not funny, but
That's certainly one way to get head. And since he had yet to sow his seed, his younger brother was left to rule on his own. Well,
nigga, I'm sorry, but nigga died chasing the pussy.
he died 2 years later after being accidentally stabbed by his servant during a hunting trip.
Oh my god.
Bummer. It's stories like this that make you realize just how stupidly fragile we all are. Just like that, a family lineage is cut short. Imagine if your great-great-great-great-grandmother fell in the shower, completely erasing the possibility of your existence. Poor guy probably didn't even know who she was. But he could have with today's sponsor. Mind Records for you to 4th.
I had a feeling it was coming.
Looking at my dinghy. Ever see this painting before? Well,
I know Benjamin Franklin. This is I think the day they signed the Declaration of Independence. Benjamin Franklin should be this dude right here. I don't think this is Washington, but it's Washington. Alexander Hamilton is one of these guys over here. I don't know my history that crazy, but I know it. I think there's a mayor or a politician, like his great great grandfather is somewhere is someone in this picture, right? In the back half. I just remember that.
Want to brag, but the artist is my 8th generational ancestor, John Trumbull,
Really?
also known as the painter of the American Revolution. I'm clearly carrying on his legacy, and I know he'd be proud. My heritage even lets you bring people back from the dead. By enhancing, colorizing, or even animating historical photos of our dearly departed. Take, for instance, my great-great-grandma's great-great-uncle. Look how great he is. And now, he's even greater. So if you want to
You kind of just changed the color filter
start
on it.
branching out and discovering your origins, use my links below. My heritage, I discovered my Argentinian great-grandfather had Germanic or Armenian. Basil I was
Basili?
little Basil I
Basil.
was quite the inspirational success story. Born into a dirt-poor Armenian family in the Byzantine province of Macedonia way back in 811, baby Basil had quite the social ladder to climb. But such a challenge was deemed necessary as he was determined to dodge his destitute destiny. Too bad that he and his family were captured by Bulgarians when he was just 2. Luckily, Basil was able to escape his captors. It just took 23 years.
23 years.
He sought to live out his newfound freedom and fled to Constantinople, which is not yet Istanbul. Possessing incredible strength and an uncanny ability to roll 20s on any and all charisma checks, Basil made leaps and bounds up that social ladder. He began working as a lowly stable boy, got promoted to servant under a relative of the emperor, met a wealthy cougar noblewoman who just threw money at him, dabbled in sweaty, slippery wrestling, and then took on a gig as a bodyguard for Supreme Empire King Emperor guy Michael III. Now, you'd figure that being a bodyguard to the Emperor would be a great place to coast until retirement.
Hell no.
But Basil was just getting started. He managed to gain the utmost trust of the Emperor, even being formally adopted as a son. And taking advantage of this, Emperor Michael...
Hold on. He was 2 years old when he got adopted. He didn't escape. He got kidnapped when he was 2 years old. He didn't escape for 23 years. So you telling me a 25-year-old man got adopted, a grown-ass man, and especially when these people only lived to like 30 or 40 years old back in the day. You telling me a nigga who was basically middle age almost got adopted. That is weird as hell.
He had been convinced by Basil that his own uncle was secretly plotting to take the throne, so he gave Basil permission to address the issue. He did. This false act of loyalty resulted in the Emperor crowning Basil as co-emperor, which was not his best move. You see, Emperor Michael III wasn't very good in his decision-making, which is probably why the public didn't favor him all that much.
Yeah, I can tell. You made a 25-year-old man your fucking son. That's... God damn, that shit was dumb as hell.
Basil had one last obstacle in the way of the crown, his newly adoptive dad. But that's nothing a quick swipe of a sword can't fix. Basil dropped the co in his title and was now the full-fledged emperor of the Byzantine Empire in 867. Despite having 0 qualifications for the job,
Low-key, this shit kind of beautiful though. Hold on. This shit kind of nice. Shit, nigga. Yeah, I'll kill a couple emperors. I get to rule over this land.
Basil's establishment of the Macedonian dynasty brought the Byzantine Empire into a golden age, with various military victories, large-scale construction, and significant cultural and legal reforms. Problem is, when you get into power through murder, you're always going to be looking over your shoulder for the
It's gonna happen to you, you know. The way you got it is the same way you gonna lose it.
next person trying to do the same thing to you. Now, I'm not going to question the logistics of it, but during a routine hunting trip in 886, the now elderly Basil managed to get his belt stuck in a deer's antlers. Yeah, I don't know. The animal went wild, as animals tend to do, dragging Basil across the Windows XP default landscape for 16 whole miles.
God damn.
That's at least 2 kilometers. A servant had managed to cut the Emperor free, but the damage was done. Although somehow still alive, the Emperor sustained tremendous injury. The servant, still brandishing his iconic belt-cutting knife, was accused of attempted murder and was sentenced to death. Wait, what?
Damn, that's fucked up.
Emperor Basil I died a bit later from his infected wounds.
Edmund Ironside? Edmund Ironside?
Old Edmund Ironside was
Yeah, Edmund Ironside. God damn, this shit is old as hell.
King of England for a whole 7 months in 1016 after his rad dad Athelred II died under unknown circumstances. Poor Edmund rose to power at a pretty bad time. Those gosh damn Vikings were gaining a foothold in England, and they needed a stern talking to at the very least.
Not just any Vikings though, these were Danish Vikings, which were much more formidable, flaky, and flavorful.
The 26-year-old king fought back hard against the Viking invaders, throwing whatever English forces he could at them, and saw quite a few victories, granting the king the nickname Ironside for his resilience. But even though he won a few battles, he had yet to win the war. The final conflict, the Battle of Asandin, near modern-day Essex, ended in Danish victory, where there was much
I'm sorry, that shit look like they fighting on a golf course.
rejoicing and many crumbs. Following this English loss, a treaty was signed by King Edmund and Viking King Canute.
Canute, being a real Canunt, agreed to allow Edmund to continue his reign, but only with the control of Wessex. The
Oh hell no. I'm sorry. If this back in the day, nigga, kill me. Either you kill me or I'm taking all of it, nigga. You're not gonna give me this baby ass corner of my existing country, nigga. At least I need this yellow part. I need the yellow part, this red part, and this green part at least. And you keep everything up here, nigga. You not gonna give me this little baby ass sliver, nigga. You gonna have to kill me where I stand. If I was a ruler named Iron Nuts, nigga, I'm dropping my Iron Nuts, nigga. I need this. You gonna have to kill me, bro. I'm not letting you. We not making no agreements on that. Fuck no. No way in hell I'm taking that shit.
heart of Anglo-Saxon England. All English land north of the River Thames was now under Danish control. Now, there was a special stipulation that stated whichever king died first, the other shall inherit the whole country.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'll tell you what, nigga. We had constant war. Well, we basically signed a treaty for no reason, nigga. I'm gunning for your head every single day.
That sounds like great motivation for assassination plots. Lo and
Yep.
behold, just 1 month later in October of 1016, Edmund Ironside met with a terrible fate. While sitting on his second most important throne, an
Damn, niggas died on the toilet.
assailant was assigned to assassinate the king's ass. Yep, old Ironsides caught a blade between his
No. No, somebody was hiding in the shitter. A nigga stabbed him in his ass. No. No way. A nigga hiding in the shitter stabbed him in his ass.
cheeks when he was at his most vulnerable. According to some historical sources, an assassin hid under the king's private turlet, waiting for the perfect
Oh, bro. And it's crazy to think the moment he stabbed him, he probably shitted all over his face. Oh.
opportunity to strike. Edmund, as planned, died of his wounds, granting King Canute full control over England, which he ruled for 2 decades.
20 years. 20 years, not a bad run, though. Hey, Henry.
Being the youngest son of 4 to William the Conqueror, Henry I didn't even have a chance of becoming a
God damn, nigga got a lesbian cut of doom. Sorry.
Burger King, let alone any kind of respected monarch. When Daddy William logged off the server in 1087, the late king's possessions were divided as such. His eldest son, Robert, inherited Normandy and was made duke. His second son, Richard, got nothing. He was
Damn.
dead from a hunting accident, no
shit.
less. His third and favorite son, William, inherited the crown of England and was begrudgingly promoted to King William II overnight.
So wait, why'd he get this and why'd the first son get this and named Duke? Oh, he had favorites
I
or
say
some shit?
begrudgingly because it is believed that William II would have preferred to inherit Normandy. Oh well, finally, little Henry was given lots of money and a tiny bit of English countryside. But that was immediately yoinked by his now king brother, which never caused any internal resentment in the coming years. Now, some historians believe that King William 2.0 didn't care much for his new majestic role, and as a means of escape from his kingly duties, he frequently went on hunting trips. You can probably see where this is going. During one of these trips, William, who wasn't much of an adventurer, took an arrow in the chest. Now, since lungs aren't where
Damn.
arrows are usually stored, William quivered in pain as the arrow knocked the wind out of him, and he drew his last breath shortly after.
Yeah, hunting trips are lethal to nobility. Of course, some historical speculations suggest that the friendly fire may not have been so friendly. It is possible that the fiasco was a plot concocted by Henry to seize the crown. After hearing
I don't think Henry did it. I think he just got shot in the chest.
of his older brother's demise through his own ear holes, Henry speed ran to the royal treasury and no-clipped to the crown to claim the throne for himself, which certainly didn't help dispel the rumors of foul play. Now, the public wasn't exactly against what had happened, as King William II was a bit of a dick. As the new head honcho, King Henry I immediately began a rollback on many of his late brother's brutal policies, replacing them with much more successful judicial and financial reforms. Being the most educated of the four brothers, Henry peacefully ruled England and progressed the kingdom during his reign. Sure, he also invaded Normandy and held his last brother prisoner for life, but
Damn, nigga, you gonna hold your big brother in prison?
that's beside the point. Henry eventually married a Scottish princess and had himself two legitimate children that he loved very much.
See, like, I'm trying to marry a princess. Like, you heard of French Montana? He married like the Prince of Dubai or some shit. Family worth over $1 billion. Nigga, French Montana don't gotta drop shit no more. But then again, like, who's tuning in French Montana?
And dozens of illegitimate little crotch goblins whom he didn't.
Daddy, I want a popsicle.
Now, of course, there has to be a little bit of conflict sprinkled in, so his son and only heir got caught up in the White Ship disaster of 1120, which was a titanic tragedy. The titular White Ship, a vessel transporting around 300 people, including many nobles, struck a big old boulder and sank in the English Channel. Only one
I want to speak on this. Do y'all believe that, like, back in the day, people used to see mermaids, or were niggas just horny as hell seeing them fucking manatees and just imagining titties and shit? Titties and a beautiful face. I think niggas was just horny as hell. They've been at sea for mad long. They're tired. And they probably seen a fucking manatee chilling on a rock and thought it was a mermaid.
100 people, including many nobles, struck a big old boulder and sank in the English Channel. Only one soul survived, but it wasn't the prince, so who cares? This sent Henry into a depressive spiral, as many of his subjects refused to recognize his daughter as a rightful heir to the crown. A woman ruling? Ugh, gross, said the English. In his sad state, Henry cheered himself up the only way a king knows how, with a good old-fashioned hunting trip. But on this trip, Henry gorged himself on lamprey. You know, those weird little wiggly sucking
What the fuck is that? Ugh. That shit look nasty as hell.
teeth fish. Yeah, apparently those were a delicacy.
Niggas used to call anything a delicacy. God damn.
Despite numerous warnings from his physician to cut it out, Henry continued to chew through the little suckers like candy. Your Majesty, that's a bit much, isn't it? King Henry I contracted food poisoning and died from the illness a week later in 1135 at the age.
See, like, this the type of dick rider I need. Nigga, I got food poisoning. Niggas lay me on the golden table. Everybody on their knees and shit. This is the type of dick rider I need.
Of 66, bringing an end to the Norman dynasty.
Charles the
King
Second.
Charles II was an asshole, which is why history remembers him as Charles the Bad. Having been born and raised in France and descending from a line of French rulers, Charles felt destined to be the big baguette in charge one day, and when his mother, who was the only daughter of former King Louis X of France, faded from existence, Charles received his inheritance, the paltry kingdom of Navarre, a pathetic spit of land in northern modern-day Spain. This sad excuse for a kingdom was an insult to his
shit.
name, an insult he would never forget. Although now a king at the age of 17, Charles continued to spend his time in France, hoping to build enough influence to gain recognition for his claim to the crown. But he wasn't successful. He would spend the next several decades double-crossing, manipulating, and backstabbing his way through life, pitting England and France against each other during the 100 Years' War. He had deceived, murdered, and betrayed for the sake of gaining power. He eventually helped spark a revolution in France. No, not the French Revolution. That's not for a while. This uprising was the Jacquerie, a peasant rebellion in 1358 against French nobles. Charles led a suppressive force against the peasants to appear to be the savior of France, but everyone saw right through the ruse. After that publicity stunt, Charles lost almost all political support in France and had to turn to England for help. He ended up pleading with English King Dude Guy Edward III to invade the weakened France and divide the spoils between them, but King Edward was all,
No. The king
Yeah, he wasn't going for none of that bullshit.
had zero trust for Charles and refused the offer, eventually making peace with France. For now. A few years later, Charles was back on his bullshit, throwing himself in wars and declaring loyalty to both sides in exchange for gaining land and power. He would just favor whichever side was winning. He did get involved in the Spanish Wars between 1365 and 1368, but faked his own kidnapping in order to avoid participating in battle.
Oh yeah, this nigga on some whole shit.
And
He
that
moving
stuff
like
was
a fucking hyena. This is exactly how hyena moves.
Instantly recognized as cowardice, making Charles a laughingstock of Western Europe. Finally, in 1378, the annoying little fly that was Charlie II was finally swatted. His tiny kingdom was invaded by Spanish forces and promptly wiped out. Charles sought refuge in France and was forced to surrender in shame. Although he retained his crown, he had no power whatsoever. 9 years later, in 1387, Charles the Bad fell ill and was pretty much immobile. His doctor prescribed that his body be wrapped in alcohol-soaked linen sheets, and these sheets were sewn around his body each night to promote any healing. Well, one night when finishing up her king sewing duties, a maid had no scissors to cut the last thread of the linen. There were no blades to be found that could finish the job. So, what do you think she did?
She left to find her scissors. She used a lit candle. She subscribed. She used her teeth. A normal person probably would have chose option A. A little bit slower person probably would have used their teeth. But this is back in the 10,000s. So she probably used a lit candle to burn that shit off.
Time's up. The correct answer was B. In a moment of completely
I knew it.
terrible judgment, the young maid resorted to using an open flame candle to melt the thread off. Charles II, who wanted to be a French king so bad, was promptly flambéed in his bed as the maid panicked and fled.
King Henry II.
Henry II of France was a decent king between the years of 1547 up until his death in 1559. Nothing spectacular, but decent. He's remembered as an advocate for keeping the Catholic faith in France and suppressing them smelly Protestants. He had quite a few either burned at the stake for heresy or had their tongues cut out so they couldn't talk trash about Catholicism.
Oh
Perhaps his bigger
shit.
claim to fame, though, was his participation in ending the Italian Wars, which waged across 65 years. With the signing of the Treaty of Cato Cambyses, the deadly wars were finally at an end, and there was much rejoicing. One particular event of celebration was conducted by our subject, King Henry II. To commemorate the end of the wars, as well as his daughter's marriage to King Philip II of Spain,
She was what?
wars, as well as his daughter's marriage to King Philip II of Spain,
Oh, come on, bruh. Like, and you know, back then they barely used to live past like 40. So this is really like a 70-year-old man dating a fucking 13-year-old, which is nasty as hell.
Henry held a jousting tournament. You know, that silly medieval sport where two men hold long wooden poles on horseback and just charge at each other trying to knock the other off? Yeah, I don't get it either, but hey, it's way
I thought back in the day used to actually kill each other during jousting. I didn't know that was like a sport. I thought this was a death match.
more entertaining than baseball. Anyway, King Henry II held the tournament on June 30th, 1559 and took it upon himself to participate as a challenger. Perhaps the last bad decision of his life. Set against his own captain of the King's Guard, the two set off to consensually jab their long sticks into each other. With the ASMR pleasures of a wooden crunch, the captain's lance hit its target and shattered upon impact, as they're designed to do. Problem was, some of the splintered wood decided to nuzzle itself right into the king's eyeball for warmth. Oh my god, okay, I'm sorry, you're fine, you're okay. Royal surgeons raced to the king's aid, but were unable to treat the wound. He's gonna be okay, right, Doc? Tough to say.
Nah.
Problem seems to be this big old piece of wood here. I highly recommend he rest up for a few days and we'll see what happens. Are you gonna remove the wood? I'm sorry. I was unaware that you were the royal surgeon. The medics failed to properly treat the king's wounds, which only got worse over the next few days, leading to severe infection.
Damn.
I may have been wrong. King Henry II splintered
What the fuck? Did they get a mold of his face when he died?
off from this world on June 10th, 1559.
What a bunch of silly stuff, right? I have more ridiculous royal deaths on the list, so if you do want a part 2, let me know in the comments. Remember to click my link.
Yeah. I ain't getting paid for that. But, you know, with that being said, let me know how y'all feel about that down below. I'll see y'all boys later, dude.
Why you standing all by yourself? Those shoes are made for dancing with someone else. Why don't we move on?